Hey there guys, this is Reckles with WTBGold, and today is the first day of the Gold Cap Challenge, where we are going for 1 million gold by Warlords of Draenor. So I wanted to talk about goals first off, for anyone who's joining me. Someone was going for gold cap, someone was going for 100k, someone was going for 500k, so that's awesome. Thanks for joining me, guys. So the first step that you need to do is figure out what your daily requirement is. So take your goal, take your current balance, subtract the two, and then divide that by 30. So for me, I went through all my tunes and found out that I have 448k on all my tunes, and I'm going for 1 million gold, or 99999 gold. So I need to get an average of 18k per day in order to hit my goal. Now, I might get a big windfall of gold, or I might not, but let's shoot for 18k per day, and then I should be set. So that's my goal. Let me know what your goal is so we can be accountability buddies. And without further ado, let's get into the training. Hey there, gold makers, this is Reckles, and today we're going over the first part of our Gold Cap Challenge, the first update, and I'd like to talk about what you've probably heard me say at the end of each of my videos: search, craft, post every day. Now, I'm not just BSing you there whenever I say that. It's not just a tagline. I can actually talk for quite a bit about each of those. There's a lot of depth, and I put a lot of thought into that cute little cliche tagline thing. So today, while I give you a little update on my progress and we get started with the challenge, I need to get going on some crafting. I'm gonna get some jewel crafting stuff done, load up that, and so I need some ore. And immediately you're faced with a decision, as many of you JCs are, of do you go out and mine the ore yourself, or do you buy it from the auction house? Well, there's no correct decision. It's all dependent on your situation and what you want out of your gold making routine. So I actually did a blog post about this and found some interesting things. Pretty much when you spend money on ore on the auction house, the amount of money that you spend is equivalent to the time that you waste on mining. Okay, does that make sense? So, pretty much it's better to mine if the opportunity cost of mining is less than the deal you would be getting on the ore on the auction house. So, to put that better, if you were to just buy the ore on the auction house and you were, because you're wasting money, you get it for free when you go out and mine it, but you got to spend a lot of time doing it. But even if you get a really good deal on it, your gold balance is decreasing. There are lots of things you could do better to make gold than go out and mine. But if you just log off, then you're not going to be going and doing those things. If you buy the gold or buy the ore off the auction house and then you just log off, then you know those potential things that you're like, oh, it's better to go do dungeon runs than go out and mine. Well, then you're not doing those things, so it's not better to do those things, so you should have gone out and mined. Does that make sense? So it's not better to go do Halls of Lightning. It's not 4k per hour or 10k per hour, or better to craft 1 billion glyphs or Dark Moon Fair cards, because you didn't. You should have gone out and mined. Alternatively, if you need to farm up 200 stacks of ore or 5,000 stacks of ore, and you can get them for 50 cents per ore, and you have a supplier, then do that. Because that is 500 hours of work, and, hey, we all try to have lives. Or not, whatever. So, We're going to do some YouTube magic here and move on to the next thing I wanted to talk about, which is actually the first thing I do every day, and that is sniper scans. And this is going to make you a ton of gold every day when you log in. Okay, so here we are in Stormwind at the auction house, and we are going to take a look at one of the best things you can do for gold making, period. This will build up your inventory of everything. Literally, if you don't do anything in WoW ever, like you will make a fortune just from doing this. It's quick, it's easy. You can keep one bank tune in Stormwind at all time and just log in and do this if you don't have any time to play. Just log in, do a quick scan, a quick post, and you're good for the day. And then you can go on about your business and you don't really even have to play WoW. So, what is it? It's essentially searching for undervalued items on the auction house. So think of it like the stock market. If you were able to go and find everyone on the stock market who accidentally posted IBM stock at 10% of what it was worth, and you were able to search the entire stock market and just grab everything that was posted up at 10% of what it was worth, and you were able to buy all of that and then immediately post it at 90% or 80% or 60% of what it was worth, so it would pretty much immediately sell, then you would make a ton of money. That is what a sniper scan is. And Sterling over at stormspire.net has set up all these groups for you. Now, you do have to go in and set all these up, but you only have to set it up once. And then every day you just log in. When you first start up WoW, go to the auction house, click these groups, and hit search. Now, it takes a little while. The scan actually takes, if you do all the groups at once, it'll take, I don't know, about 10, 15 minutes depending on your computer. So I don't know. So I don't accidentally get bored or walk away and then cancel the scan accidentally. I'll do 3 or 4 groups at a time. Sterling has kind of a recommended shopping operation set up for you, but you'll probably have to go lower on your percentages if you're on one of the higher pop servers out there. And actually, as we head into Warlords of Draenor, the factions are going to merge, so the auction houses are going to get bigger, and so you might have to, once Warlords drops, lower those percentages a little more. And another thing, the guide uses the sources, the key of DB Market, and I actually prefer using DB Global Sales Average. This is the source from the Trade Skill Master desktop app, and what it is the actual sales data of all the items globally, rather than just the median local posting prices, which is the DB Market. DB Market is actually a moving average, really cool moving 2-week moving average of your market. I normally use global medians in all my guides, and I really like global medians, but for this I want to, since I'm looking for quick flips, I want global data. I really like that, and I want to see what things are actually selling at. So I'm going to be using 20% DB global sales average on most things, and that'll keep things pretty steady. Since that, by using a global sales average, it'll actually adjust everything, all the prices, and I won't really need to do much work. I might change things around for mounts and move that up a little higher, since mounts can flip a little better. But for everything, I'm going to keep it probably at about 20% and see what we get. So we know when to get ore from the open world versus when to get it in the auction house. We know when to get items for cheap on the auction house. Now the question is, how do we search
for Transmog and BoEs in the open world? What's the next step in our search? What I recommend doing is actually getting a routine on a weekly basis of hitting up one dungeon every day you log on, but having a routine, a set schedule of, having your laps that you do. So I like a couple different dungeons. I like AQ20, I like Bastion of Twilight, I like Zul'Farrak, I like Dead Mines, I like Halls of Lightning. Those are all really good dungeons to run. Halls of Lightning actually isn't really good anymore, because books of Glyph Mastery don't really drop, and those aren't worth anything anymore. Quick note, side note, who knew? But I don't know why they took those out. So a couple people have commented on some of my videos, like, oh, thanks for this video. I run this dungeon 50 times a day. It's so great. Well, that's actually not that's great that you have so much transmog now, but you're going to have a really hard time selling all those by BoEs and greens because you're going to be absolutely flooding your market. What you should do instead is run a dungeon 5 times, 10 times a week. Maybe that might even be a little too much. Build up your inventory initially. Get a bunch of transmog from one dungeon of a certain type of transmog, Kata transmog, for instance, or Lich King transmog. And then once you have a lot of a certain expansion's transmog, then just run that dungeon 3, 4, 5 times a week, and then move on to the next one. And then the next week, you only need to run it 3, 4, or 5 times, and you're good. You built up the pieces that you sold that week, and you're pretty steady from that. And your daily sniper auction, your sniper purchases, you keep your transmog pretty full. So you're good to go, and you keep your inventory growing of really cheap transmog, and your gold balance is always growing pretty significantly without a huge time investment too, because five runs of a dungeon is 30 minutes to an hour, and that's usually 5 to 20,000 gold in some of these dungeons. And for a lot of you guys, that's all you need. And 5 to 20,000 gold a day. Even if it takes you a little while to sell that, the point is you're doing it every day, and it sells eventually. But if you're doing it every day, eventually all that stuff is gonna catch up, and you post it. As long as you're posting it every day, eventually it's gonna start all selling every day, and you're just gonna keep getting sales, and you're gonna start selling just a massive amount of gold every day. So there you go. I hope that helps. Have a good one, and remember to search, craft, post every day.
Alright, well that's it for the training session. I hope y'all are making a ton of gold towards your goals. And as far as an update, I finished off the first day at about 12k. So I didn't get a full crafting session in, but we are right on track towards the 1 million gold. So we'll see y'all tomorrow or in the next couple of days with the next update.